Alright, today we've got to run with Butterfree. Now, I don't know how I feel about this one today, honestly. Looking at the stats here, we've got 60 in HP, 45 in attack, 50 in defense, 70 in speed, and 80 in special. The crit rate of 13.67%. For a base stat total, I believe this is 305, so not very good, especially compared to the likes of Mewtwo and Starmie, which we've done in the previous videos. So I'm expecting a little bit less from Butterfree. I'm not expecting too much, to be completely honest. Now, taking a look at its move pool here, we don't have much to really work with. Starting off, we've got Confusion, and that's it. Confusion is not bad. It utilizes our better special stats, but it's also not same type, and it's only 50 base power. So while it'll pretty much get us through most of the early game, it's kind of unfortunate that it's really the kind of the best level up move we get outside of some status condition moves like Sleep Powder and not Stun Spore. I'm probably not going to use Stun Spore, but Sleep Powder and Poison Powder. That's pretty much all we get. Now, unfortunately, in Generation 1, when it comes to bug and flying moves, there's just really not many that are good. I mean, the best flying move that's in this generation is Drill Peck, and if you don't have a beak, specifically one like Dodrio or Fearow, you're probably not going to have, or Zapdos, you're probably not going to have that move. So no same type flying moves, no same type bug moves. It's really bad. But, I mean, we get access to Psychic, which is pretty much going to be our go-to because we don't really have any other good special moves. I mean, we get access to Mega Drain, might have a couple of uses, but it really won't be staying on our final set. We'll probably end up picking up Swift. We're going to need a physical move that can help us with, the likes of like Alakazam on the Champions team, even getting through Sabrina. So that's kind of what we're going to be using that for. Looking over here, I don't really think there's anything else I will be needing TM wise. I can't use Double Team. Reflect probably won't be worth it. Psywave, Rest. I mean, Rest could be good if there was ever somewhere we need to stall, but I don't think that'll be at any point in time. But I think Caterpie will definitely, Butterfree will definitely have its work cut out for it today in this challenge. I don't expect Brock to be very difficult, but I can't say the same thing for Misty. So let's go ahead and head into this gym fight. Let's see just how good this goes. Now Brock leading off with Geodude. All we have is Confusion. Luckily, Confusion is a special move, so it'll do pretty good damage, even though our stats aren't that crazy yet. So it's going to be an easy Brock win. If he had rock moves, I will say if he had rock moves, we'd be pretty in pretty bad shape because we're 4 times weak to rock. But coming out of Brock, we've got a perfect 33 of 33 for that fight. So we're looking good there. And really, I think when we get to Generation 3 and Brock has Rock Tomb, that's going to be a problem. That's really going to be a problem because obviously, like I said, 4 times damage. But there's really no Pokemon in the game that I think have any rock moves of significance. None that we can't handle before they hit us. So I don't really think we're going to have to worry about our 4 times weakness to rock. We'll definitely have a lot of other issues to worry about. But let's go ahead and head over to Misty. I think this might be quite a tad bit of a tedious fight because Starmie is a part Psychic and all we have to damage is Confusion. So let's see how this goes. Now Misty leads with Staryu. We're just going to go Confusion here. but we are going to take a good amount of chip damage. Now, my strategy here is just to poison it and have it take damage over time while I stack up with confusion damage, and hopefully I can also have a chance for confusion. But as you can see, this is pretty bad. And honestly, if Starmie was just hitting me with like Bubble Beam, this probably would, every turn it would probably be over really quick. So yeah, that's kind of where this fight isn't too tough. So I'm gonna go up to 21, and we're gonna see this. It may not make a huge difference, but it's a slight boost to my stats. So what I'm gonna do, instead of taking chip damage from Staryu, I'm just gonna put it to sleep. And I know Caterpie does technically get Tackle on its learn set, but to be completely honest, this probably would have been the only place where Tackle would be useful. And with Misty using X-Defends and Hardens, I don't really think Tackle would have been doing too much more than what Confusion is doing. Even though I do have the badge boost and my attack and special are pretty close, I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. But the Poison and Confusion strats are going to help us get the win here. And due to the inconsistency of having to rely on Sleep Powder, we're going to lose 5 points there. We're also going to lose 4 points on top of that for having to use an ineffective move in Confusion on Starmie. So due to that, that gives us a score of 24 out of 33. Yeah, this is where we're kind of going to start seeing things kind of, you know, take a downward trajectory here. The rest of the fights shouldn't be too bad, at least up to Sabrina, but kind of after that into the Elite Four, we can definitely see where we could get a lot of point deductions, because I think Butterfree is going to have to rely on Sleep Powder to really to get by and really be successful, which you're going to lose points on consistency because Sleep Powder is only 75% accurate. But let's head over to Surge. Let's see how this fight goes. Okay, now Surge does outspeed me with his Raichu, but I'm just going to go for Sleep Powder, and this is kind of what I mean here. I have to rely on Sleep Powder to get by this, because I think if I get hit by Thunderbolt, it's probably going to be the end of me. Not only that, but even if I'm not getting hit by Thunderbolt, I think Mega Punch and Mega Kick could probably still do some good damage to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and just use Sleep Powder to be safe. Now, the reason I'm not going to lose points here is because I only had to use Sleep Powder once and it's 75% accurate. So out of 10 fights, I think I would win probably 7 to 8 times out of 10, depending. So I'm not going to lose any points there. So coming out of Surge, we're going to have 29 points out of 29 points. Not looking too bad so far. It's still early. Most of the struggle is going to come later, when kind of towards the late game. I think we're going to have a lot more heavy reliance on Sleep Powder, because like that 305 base stat total really hinders Butterfree in terms of its, you know, performance, because Psychic is not going to hit that hard. But we'll see. Let's get into Erica. This shouldn't be too hard of a fight. We resist Grass by 4 times. Tangela doesn't really have anything here that would cause me much issues. It's only going to go for Bind and Constrict because Grass is 4 times ineffective to a Bug and Flying type. So I don't really have to worry about any of that. The only thing I'd really be concerned about is status moves. And I guess they have Acid, but that's not enough to get by Butterfree. And not only that, but Gloom and Weepin' Bell are weak to Psychic type moves due to their poison typing. So that's not going to be a hard fight. There with Erica, we're going to get a 37 out of 37 score for that fight. So that's not bad. Next up, we have Koga. And with Psychic, I imagine this will also be a pretty easy fight because you know, he has 3 Venonat and a Venomoth. They don't really have anything to use on me outside of Psychic, and you know, they don't really have the greatest special stat, especially the Venonats, so they're not going to be much to worry about. But let's see just how trivial Koga is. On the first Venonat, it's going to be an easy one-hit KO. And as if you can see over there on the right-hand side, their special stats are really bad. So it doesn't really get better until you get to Venomoth, and even then, that's still a one-shot critical hit. So a very, very trivial Koga fight. It's a one-shot on every single one of his Pokemon. No damage taken. And yeah, that's going to be a 41 out of 41 points on Koga. Absolutely no struggles there. So now we're going to head over to Saffron City. We need to clean out the Sylph Company. Clean all of Team Rocket and Giovanni out of Sylph Company so that we can get access to the gym and take on Sabrina. And for her, I have Swift. Swift should do pretty good damage, even though my attack stat isn't that great. I shouldn't have any problems getting Pied Sabrina with Swift. So let's hop over to her. Let's see what this fight looks like. Now, all Abra can do to me is lower accuracy, and it's not a one-shot KO, so it goes for Flash. Does get the hit. Kadabra goes for Kinesis, but remember, I'm using Swift, and Swift never misses, so this is pretty much a free fight. No struggle at all there. We're going to get a 37 out of 37 coming out of Sabrina. Really not bad. But next we have Blaine. Now, ooh, this is going to be a tough one. This is kind of where that lack in stats really comes to hurt Butterfree, especially coming up against a gym leader who has fire types with very powerful same type attack bonus fire type moves when you're weak to it as a bug type. Yeah, this is kind of where I don't think Butterfree has any other options than putting all of his Pokemon to sleep and just whittling them down, because Psychic is just not going to do very much. Our stats are just not that good comparatively at this late game, at this stage in the game. This is the late game, and unfortunately, Butterfree, being in that class of you know, early game bug types that evolve so early, they just can't do anything. So let's see how this Blaine fight goes. I'm not expecting too much, but coming in, we've got Ninetales. It's got Confuse Ray, Flamethrower. It can even lower our defense with Tail Whip. And as you can see, Psychic just does pretty much nothing. This is going to be a 3-hit KO. And yeah, look how much damage I take from Flamethrower. It's just coming into Rapidash. This is where I realize, like, I have no choice but to go Sleep Powder. I just cannot get hit by these stab fire moves. It's just too much. And then you've got Fire Blast on Arcanine and Flamethrower. Like, you can't survive that. So I come in, I take a reset there, and the strategy here, it's just put them to sleep and then just use Psychic. That's all I can do. There's just no other way to get through this fight. You cannot tank any of these fire type attacks. Like, there's just no way. I mean, I'm pretty sure a Fire Blast from Arcanine would probably be a one-shot KO. But that's how we're going to get through Blaine. Now, I'm going to lose 5 points for inconsistency here. I believe it's just above the threshold for the lucky win, which a lucky win, I believe, is a less 30% or less. What is it? 30% or less chance of pulling it off. Basically, 3 times out of 10 would be my statistics for winning. So putting his Pokemon to sleep on the first turn, I believe that was, when I did that math, it was about a 42% chance. So that's just above that threshold. So we'll just lose 5 points for Blaine. That'll be 32 out of 37. But coming into Giovanni, being the flying type, we don't have to worry about any of his ground moves. So let's see if this is a trivial fight. The only thing I don't want to happen is to get hit by Sand Attack, but unfortunately, because our special stat is just not enough, we get hit with Sand Attack, so we're lower accuracy by 1, but it hasn't quite kicked in yet. And ooh, we take a huge Thunder from Nidoqueen after the forces a reset. And for whatever reason, Dugtrio goes for Dig, but we'll take it. Obviously, ground type moves do not affect flying type moves, so we get through there without any accuracy drops. And we're getting past Persian, still haven't taken any damage. And Psychic, critical hit on the Nidoqueen to get past that. Nidoking, not quite. We're going to take a Thunder, but doesn't do too much. And then into Rhydon, this is probably the only fight where Mega Drain will be worth it. And had Rhydon had gone for Rock Slide, honestly, I think that would have one-shot us pretty bad. Like, I mean, I don't think there's a way to survive that, but luckily he goes for the guard spec, and we get past Giovanni to claim the last and final badge, the Earth badge. So now it's time for the Pokemon League, and first up is Lorelei. Now I imagine Lorelei is going to give us some issues. We are weak to ice type moves, so as I mentioned earlier, putting the Pokemon to sleep is probably the strategy because Mega Drain's not going to do very much damage. Alright, coming into Lorelei, sometimes when I know that I'm at a major disadvantage, I kind of just come into these fights and see how they go. And even though we have a super effective Mega Drain, I mean, if you take a look at the overlay here, it still has less effective power than Psychic. So the only use case I'd have for it here is just to restore health off of the water ice types, which on Cloyster it does about half, but I end up getting frozen, so I have to reset there. So at this point, this is where I'm like, okay, probably the most consistent way to get through Lorelei is to just put all of her Pokemon to sleep and avoid these ice type moves because they're doing a lot of damage. And this is kind of where I just mentioned, like, it's so unfortunate that Butterfree has no stab moves. And even if it did, I don't think it would make a huge difference just because its stats are so low. So, I mean, it might help against the Slowbro because Bug is super effective against Psychic. Either Slowbro and the Jinx, that would probably be a good place to have a Bug move. But hey, it's Generation 1. Yeah, this is to be expected. So we've made it all the way to Lapras with the use of Sleep Powder. We're not taking any damage, so I'm just going to go Psychic. I mean, none of these moves are going to do very much damage. Lapras is pretty bulky, but it stays asleep the entire time it takes us to knock him out. And then we head over to Bruno, where Mega Drain actually is pretty good against his Onyxes because they don't have very good special. And I have Psychic for his fighting types, so this is actually a pretty easy fight for Butterfree. No struggle at all here. I even almost one-shot the Machamp, but it goes for submission. That does nothing. Might as well just went strength. But here we go into Agatha. I don't know if I really need to be putting all her Pokemon to sleep in this fight. Her first Gengar, all it really has that I'd be worried about is Lick and Confuse Ray. But I play it safe, put it to sleep, and you know, I move on. And I was debating though this entire fight. I was like, do I need to put these Pokemon to sleep? I don't really know if I need to. I was more so scared of the Gengars, but I don't think that was warranted. I think you can get past this fight even without putting them to sleep. So I'm not going to dock any points for that because I don't think it was necessary. Now, coming into Lance, this is where we kind of run into that. I don't think Butterfree gets through this without the use of status condition moves. And if that is the role that Butterfree is meant to play, it can play it very well. I mean, putting Pokemon to sleep in Generation 1, it's very potent. So if this is how you got to get by it, this is how you got to get by it. So for the Dragonairs, I think it was better to conserve power points and just whittle them down with Swift over Psychic, which is my strongest move. I want to save Psychic for Aerodactyl, as well as Dragonite. So Aerodactyl, same type attack bonus fly with the critical hit. That's going to take us down. Even if we went all the way up to level cap, we probably would still not outspeed the Aerodactyl. So I'm going to come back in at 60 over damage running threshold. We're going to see if this makes any difference. Looking there, as I mentioned, like even 2 levels, it's not going to get us past 170 speed. So Aerodactyl is either going to get a wing attack or a fly off. We're just going to have to eat that and put it to sleep. That's the only way we're going to get past it. The only thing we're worried about, well, I say the only thing, Dragonite has Blizzard, Fire Blast, and Thunder, all super effective against Butterfree. So luckily we outspeed it. We're going to have to put it to sleep and just whittle it down, maybe get some special drops. But, I mean, that's the strategy. I mean, there's really no other way for Butterfree to get past this. Mega Drain just isn't going to do anything against Lance. Even, like, Aerodactyl takes neutral damage. It's just not enough, you know? Even with their lowered with that lower special stat, it's not enough. So you see me I get the special drop and go for Mega Drain. It's not doing enough. So, into Dragonite, Sleep Powder, put it to sleep, we whittle it down. That's how we win. It's really as simple as that. It even wakes up and it goes for a Hyper Potion, so I'm like, okay, back to sleep. I can't risk taking a hit from any of those moves. Any of those moves will KO me for sure. So that's how we end up getting past Lance. I've got to dock 30, or not 35, I've got to dock 10 points off. So for the Elite Four, we've got Lorelei. That was a lucky win. We've got that at 35 points. Bruno, 45 out of 45. Agatha, 45 out of 45. And for Lance, we've got 35 out of 45. So lost 20 points here on the Elite Four. And now we've got the champion. I don't think this is going to be easy for Butterfree either. It's just, I mean, the stats, man. It's the stats. It's really what's dragging it down. You know, no access to any good moves is also another thing. So, yeah, but I mean, to be fair, there's no good bug moves in this game. So, anyway, let's hop into the champion and let's see how this goes. Okay, now I can go for Mega Drain or Psychic, or I can put it to sleep, but I'm just going to go Psychic. It's got the highest effective power, and my plan was if I took any significant damage, maybe from like a Slash, then I would go for Mega Drain and see how that went. And for Alakazam, I have to put it to sleep. I mean, look how much damage, and my specials dropped. So now I just take the reset. I don't think I can get past that with lowered special, so I just reset. We try this again. I guess gotta avoid these psychics. I can't risk my special dropping, and as you can see, Swift is going to be a 3-shot. So yeah, very you can see the separation now that we're this deep into the game on, you know, the attack and the special. So, and Exeggutor is going to give me problems. You see, I have to put it to sleep so many times because it continues to wake up. And not only that, but Swift just does not do a lot of damage. And Blue ends up using a full restore on it. So I just have to keep on putting it to sleep. Exeggutor is a tough Pokemon if you don't have any super effective damage because it's very bulky, and it will just cause you problems between Leech Seed, Hypnosis. It's just an annoying Pokemon to deal with. So I go for Sleep Powder and miss on Magneton. It paralyzes me. Hits Thunderbolt. Just got to reset. There's no way you're getting past that. Butterfree, you can't really take a bunch of hits. So you just, once the fight's going downhill, just take the reset. That's really all you can do. And yeah, as you see, I just have to keep putting everything to sleep. It's kind of boring, honestly, that there's no other strategy, but this is what you have to do to get past the fight, unfortunately. Like, you just have to put everything to sleep and just whittle it down. So, this is Butterfree. If this is how Game Freak intended it to be played, this is what you got to do to get it through these fights. Because even if I go up to the level cap, it's not going to make much of a difference. Like, even if I went to 65 and took this fight, like, if you can see, like, just look at how much damage. And mind you, these are max stats, like max DVs and everything. And so this is like the Pokemon at its best, and it's still struggling to knock these Pokemon out. And Cloyster isn't even that specially bulky. It's just, Butterfree just can't do anything. No same type attack bonus moves. So yeah, that was a pretty long, drawn out champion fight, but that's how we get by it. We finished the game at level 63. We had to reset 8 times, and so for the champion, we've got a score of 39 out of 49. I had to give that a lucky win because we heavily relied on sleep powder, and there's no other way to get around it. So it's nice that Butterfree has an option on how to get by these tough fights, but outside of that, I mean, what else would you have been able to do? Butterfree would lose significant points if it didn't have sleep powder. It'd have to go over level cap every single time. So let's kind of just recap on where we've got Butterfree for this run. Let's see. So looking over Butterfree as a Pokemon, it's got coverage for 5 types, so we're going to give it 10 points for coverage. Now weaknesses, it's got 5 weaknesses plus a 4 times weakness in rock, so we're going to lose 12 points for weaknesses. We've got 3 resistances, 2 of those being 4 times resistances, so we're going to gain another 10 points. Finish the game at level 63, so 2 bonus points for finish level. And then when it comes down to base stats, we're going to lose 9 points because we are well below average. And this is just going to be for the bug type, where we lose -9, giving us a score of 478 out of 583, a percentage of 81.99, placing Butterfree in the C tier amongst bug types. Now, when we head over to the flying types, their average base stats are actually quite a bit higher than the bug type, so we're going to lose 17 points there for a score of 470. Giving us a 80.62%, and we've got a C tier placement amongst the flying types. Now, when we filter this for all 151 Pokemon, Butterfree gets a, oh wait, what's, 1 second. We -6 for all, when filtering for all 151. So that's probably the best base stats. I mean, the average of all 151 Pokemon is significantly closer to Butterfree's base stat total. So with that calculated in mind, Butterfree gets a score of 481 out of 583 for an 82.50%, putting it in the C tier across all of its classifications. So pulling up the tier list here, we've got Butterfree in the C tier. So, you know, still, it's not horrible, but it's to be expected. We lost a lot of points in consistency, so that's where Butterfree is currently. As far as all the Pokemon I've ran, it's currently the lowest ranked, but we'll see how it goes. I think there are some other Pokemon that can definitely place lower on the list, perhaps Onix, but we'll see how that one goes when that time comes. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, I appreciate you guys for watching. Give it a like, and I'll see you guys next time. We've got Aerodactyl coming up next. That'll be interesting. Stay tuned. See you guys next time.